Bob is Ryan, Christine, Sean Patterson, MCTV. I don't see Bobby. Maybe here.
He'll end up. I don't even know why he got ran. He's never here. Okay, so all right. Are you ready? You ready? I'm ready. Okay, folks, it's the meeting of the Board of Public Works, January 11th, 2021 at 6:03 p.m. We have a executive session. We're going to go to executive session first. Negotiating terms, interim superintendent contract. So
we'll make a motion to accept the agenda.
I'm sorry. Yep. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the agenda as written.
Second.
I will poll the board. Mr. Cusick.
Aye.
Mr. Carrier. Aye. Mr. Shaughnessy, are you on?
He's on. He's almost there.
You're still connected to auto, Bob. Your mic's muted.
Wait a minute. That's Sean.
Do you move to accept the agenda, Bob?
Yep.
Did you move to accept? He does. Okay.
He does. Unanimous. Okay.
I make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we go into executive session.
I'll second that.
I'll poll the board. Mr. Shaughnessy, move to go into executive session.
He said aye. Yep.
Mr. Cusick.
Aye.
Mr. Carrier, aye. We're now in executive session. Mr. Patterson, if you would call in on my cell phone. Mr. Shaughnessy, if you'll call in on my personal cell. And the number is, I think you have it, Bob. You should be able to return it from the call I just made you.
Yeah, Tom's going to call in from his phone.
I'm sorry, say again?
We're calling in from Tom's phone.
Okay. No, you can say this. It's not like we're just.
Okay, we're back on. Wow.
We have returned to open session.
Get your phone working? I was out there early this morning because I was coming back from walking. Yeah. So I pulled in quarter of eight. Make sure everybody was there. Yeah. Thank you, Emily.
Did you print the interim contract?
Yeah, I don't know spots to decide.
Yep, that's fine. Okay, I guess, I don't know if we're back on or not. I think we are. We're seeing all the people.
I don't think so. And
You were 8:20. You were coming up the road.
yes, I was. I is there at
Who's host anyway?
she's house at 7:20. I mean 6:20. So she's there by order
Oh,
of.
she must have been having coffee because she pulled in and she brought down, she sees me driving.
John, did they have you guys set up to host?
Oh, you know what? She was moving. It was moving from 35 cars.
Jay McGillis is the host. Everybody's back on.
Okay. Jay, are you aware we're back on for regular open session?
Yep, I just rejoined on my phone so I could talk, and I'm aware.
All right, thank you. Okay, we're back. Should be another room the way this thing feeds back. Yep, yeah, we can sign it out. It's not official with Mo. Okay. Yep. We should do an open session, the results of the negotiation, Mr. Chairman, I think.
Yes, go ahead. accepted the current superintendent's resignation and the award contract to interim superintendent, Mr. Reynolds.
Yeah.
That was an executive session.
Uh,
Go ahead.
Was your mic enabled? Was your microphone enabled?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if we got.
No, it wasn't. Go ahead, you read it, go ahead, go ahead.
You'll have to mute it now. We have returned from executive session after successful negotiation and acceptance of the interim superintendent's contract to Mr. Thomas Reynolds, effective January 12th, 2021. And we have accepted the resignation of Sean Patterson and his letter of resignation, which the board has received. And we have come to an agreement that Mr. Patterson will remain available for 80 hours over the next 60 days, should we need him for consultation, or not less than 60 days, I'm sorry, I should say. And we do appreciate his willingness to do that, and that will entitle him to his severances of the 2 weeks vacation under the contract and any unused personal time. That is the result of the executive session declared in public meeting. And we have accepted the resignation and awarded the contract. So that was the first two items of the action items, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, item 3, approval of meeting minutes 11/9/20 and 12/7/20. I did read them. I had no problem with them.
These the revisions, my conversation, then I'm all set with them as well. I've read them.
I have 2. Okay. Wait a minute. So on, you want me to? All right.
I'll make,
Yeah,
you make the
but
motion this time. It's your turn.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes of November 9th, 2020 as written.
I second the motion to accept the minutes of November the 9th, 2020.
Second. All in favor, go ahead.
I'll poll the board. Mr. Cusick,
Aye.
Mr. Shaughnessy. He said aye. Dave Carrier, aye. And the minutes of 12/7/20.
I read those.
You read those, yep.
Yep, those are fine.
I was satisfied as well.
I don't think Bobby was at that meeting.
No, Bob was not at that meeting, so I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of 12/7/20.
Second.
Mr. Cusick,
Aye.
Mr. Carrier, aye. Mr. Shaughnessy was not present and abstains.
Okay.
Okay, item 3.
Item 3 is done.
I'm sorry.
Item 4. Item 4 is, I asked for the hours for the snow and sanding of the employees and how the pick up on 5 and how the account transfers from snow and ice budget are accomplished. You know?
I'll talk on that.
All right, go ahead.
So we do track that every year, John. We have been for quite a while. The only problem is I couldn't get it to you today because our office is kind of upside down. We're in the process of moving, so I can't print anything. And none of the computers are really working. I'm using my iPad. So I think by next meeting, we'll have a pretty good spreadsheet for you of what we have done.
No. Okay. Whoa.
Next meeting, John.
Wait a minute. I'm not done.
Hang on, let me kick back down the bottom.
I'm not done with the snow and ice budget. So we do have a spreadsheet and it is being tracked. And the enterprise ratepayers are not paying for any of the snow and removal and sanding, correct?
Correct.
Now who's tracking it?
Karen Anderson and Ann Bowen. They do all the stuff, all the sheets for snow and ice.
Okay, and when is the account transfers? When does that happen? Monthly or how does that happen?
usually before the end of the fiscal year.
You hear that, Jen?
Yeah,
Before the end of fiscal year.
well, it's monthly or just,
Usually at the end of the fiscal year, John, we track everything, put it on a spreadsheet, and then the math is done at the end of the year.
why can't we do that monthly?
Yeah. They have like an earpiece. Just check on that and see if they can get this possible. I don't need one right now, but I mean, in the future.
Okay, I'll find out from the assistant superintendent, Dan Bowen. He'll know the answer.
Very good.
I understand though, when they track the snow and ice, the plowing for the snow and ice, they can only track the overtime because they can't track during the day. Because the guy might be plowing for 4 hours and then he comes off and he gets on a water call. And it's impossible for that staff, Karen Anderson and Bowen, to track them. That would mean that the foremen or the supervisor would have to go out and follow these guys around and know exactly what they're doing for their 8-hour shift.
Well, they should, then that's what you should do. That's what you should do. We got enough foremen, we got enough ability to track it. So we should
I
track
would
it.
just say it's easier said than done. You know,
It's
these
not,
guys are not gonna, if they have 10 different employees underneath them, they can't track all of them. And then you're counting on these guys to track their hours and, you know, they get enough going on during the day, especially in the middle of a
well, the
snowstorm.
ratepayers are not gonna pay for this, so we're gonna find out how to take care of it.
Mr. Chairman.
Go right ahead.
Right, Ron, so it's officially on the record here. What I would propose is that Jim Kent, who's our deputy superintendent for operations, talk to water supervisor, and the water and the distribution foreman, and just check on the difficulties that are involved and what we can do in order to implement it. And I think there should be ways in which we can accomplish this, because if they get a water call, okay, that's documented because somebody's going to dispatch them on a water call. If they're plowing snow, they're being dispatched to different snow routes. So I think it's trackable. It may not be trackable on a plus or minus 1 hour basis, but it would be trackable on a 4 hour versus 4 hour basis, for example.
Can I just interject for a minute here?
That's a supposition. We need to, review that with the staff and just see what the difficulties are or are not.
Like
But
I
think
said
it's doable.
before, we do track it.
Nope, I'm sorry.
I said before, we do track it, but we just can't track it by the month. We got to get all the information together at the end of the snow season and do our math. What Dan's saying is right. You just can't do it right away. You got to get all the information together and track it at the end of the season like we always do.
But that is on the straight time basis, correct?
We can do both. That's why it takes a little longer to do the straight time. The overtime's a lot easier.
Sean is saying it's doable. It just takes a little longer to do the straight time versus the overtime. But the overtime doesn't matter because it's overtime against snow and ice. So,
I know the overtime.
yeah. No, but he's saying the straight time is doable. It takes more time to get it done. And that's one of the reasons it's a monthly thing. That's Sean. We need to look at this as we go forward. I agree.
No, but I asked this last year, way back.
I know you did.
At the library.
Yeah.
So we were entitled to this last.
I'm not disputing that, John. But what I am saying is that, trying to retrieve that right now is problematic, especially in the middle of this move. Right now the computer systems aren't up and running, correct, Dan? They're up and running. Okay, but the transfer of files and stuff complete, or okay, so we have to get files transferred and stuff like that, John, right now with the move that's going on, because some of it's locked in on the hard drives on the laptops and the desktops. They're going down, not on the cloud or the web, the town web.
As long as we track it, this is what happened. Down, upstairs here now, downstairs, they charge us for envelopes and pencils and every other thing, even the air we breathe. So we should do the same thing. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Okay, and one of the things I would look for in the future operations We are now down at 965. We have a large diesel oil tank down.
Yeah.
I'm picturing the day will come after the construction of the new buildings are done down there, where we want to put in a gasoline station of our own down there. And then all public works vehicles would be gassed out of 965 or dieseled out of 965. And everything that takes place, the police, fire, school buses, other town vehicles not used by DPW would be handled out of the fuel station at 35 Parsonage. And that gives us a very clear line of demarcation, particularly on fuel. And also that contributes to monitoring the water department vehicles and solid waste vehicles and wastewater vehicles.
Yeah. I mean, we should be able to do this with the new building. And,
When we get to the end of the project, yeah, not before.
and so now this upcoming war, now we're talking about new building. And I counted the plows down there. We got 21 new plows. And we got 7 large plows for this 6-wheeler. So no plows in this wallet for anything. No plows.
Yeah. And I have,
Sneak a plow in something.
Yeah. I have started looking at the capital costs, both as talking with Dan, the pickups and dealing with Karen to get some information. And what my intent is to, use the number of hours spent plowing nominally versus the total number of operating hours on a vehicle in a given year. Okay. And that gives us the percentage of the capital depreciation that should actually be done. And what they're doing now in part may be the cleanest way to do it, which is basically they get an extra percentage for the use of town, DPW vehicles for general fund stuff. Huh? But it's up to 6 now, right? 5? Okay. But anyway, the bottom line would be, we'll know what that percentage ought to be adjusted, and then we can budget it in.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, we're getting it.
Yep.
In
Okay.
6 years, be another 9. Okay, let's move on.
Okay.
Thanks, Sean.
Okay.
I could write that down too. Watch this.
Yep. Just, all right. The next item is the approval of the 2022 indirect charges. We were presented these and reviewed them at the last meeting. It was chosen to defer these to this meeting because I believe at the time Mr. Shaughnessy was not in attendance. And that was our intent.
Yeah, that's correct.
And there's been no change to those that I'm aware of, Dan, have there?
No.
Okay.
We asked for a change. We didn't get any response.
They did not provide the change, as expected, John. You knew that. I mean, we said that. So I will make the motion to approve those indirect charges from the Board of Public Works standpoint, and I will poll the board if that's acceptable to you, Mr. Chairman. If you want further discussion, it's your floor.
Well, on the discussion, because before I vote, I'm going to tell you why I'm going to vote this way.
Yep.
Is that-
Well, put your mic on if you haven't. Yep.
We won't speak.
Okay. Before I vote for this, and you all know how I'm going to vote anyhow. The treasurer and the town administrator, they still owe the ratepayers $256,000. Somewhere we're going to get that money back. Also on the indirects, they use they don't use the total town budget. They take out the school budget, which doubles those interest to each individual account to come up with a figure. So until we get this thing straightened out somehow with an audit or a new methodology, because the one we're using is not correct, and they're just gaming the system. So with that, Mr. Shaughnessy, you have a comment? You might want to weigh in on this.
My only comment is, I'm so tired of talking about it. I mean, it's the same old, same old. You know, the issue is that the methodology works, is the base is wrong. And that we're up against a wall, and I'm not throwing the methodology out, but I really want to tweak this to make sure it's fair. And right now, We are up against the wall. We have to vote on something, but I think we need to still negotiate moving forward.
Well, we have to do something because the town collector treasurer is charging us 47% of his budget to collect the utilities. So that's outrageous. With that, you know, I mean, I could keep going all night on these charges, but I don't want to bore anybody. Okay, so
I have a comment I'd like to make.
go right ahead, Mr. Gary. Oh, wait a minute.
That way we don't get the feedback.
I have to mute this thing.
Yeah, my comment is that hopefully we will be able to successfully bring forth the two citizens petitions we discussed at the last meetings. And yeah, I'm getting signatures here. Bottom line on that is that the first one, which is for the annual town meeting, only requires 10 citizens, and I'm already at like 15, and I haven't walked my own neighborhood yet, which I will pick up another dozen. That is one of the tools that I think will help move us forward in the direction we wish to be in. And then the other is the modification to bylaw 15, which requires specific auditing of the indirects as part of the audit. At the same time, I put a note in the explanation that it might be appropriate for somebody to move from the floor to change the name from the Division of Corporations and Taxation to the Department of Revenue, which it is today. Because that was written in 38 or 39 timeframe and was never changed, brought up to date. And you know, it is kind of very surprising to say the least that in point of fact, you have what amounts to about $1.5 million on a typical annual basis between the three enterprise divisions, and there is no auditing of the validity of those charges, you know, to any level of extent. Is the reduction going to be significant? That's a question we don't know the answer. Even if it's de minimis, if you're an itemizer of deductions in your annual federal tax, you get to itemize those things that are under the general fund and your real estate tax. You do not get to itemize any charges for utility service. And that every time you hear the argument that it's all the same, no, it's not all the same. It might all come out of the same wallet, but this one can go on my 1040 and that one can't. So, would you want me to poll the board, sir? Or would you like to? Sorry, John. Okay.
I was in death and listening.
Anyway, I will. Okay. I will poll the board. Mr. Shaughnessy, do you vote in favor of the indirects for fiscal year 2022 or in against? Which is it?
No, I'm in favor of it with the caveat that we still need to work towards changing in the future.
Sure, I understand. Mr. Cusick?
I'm going to vote no for reasons I've already made comments on.
Okay. I am going to vote yes in favor of them to put this in the review mirror so I can concentrate on those two citizen petitions that I'm working on and on trying to make additional progress with the treasurer collector and the town administrator. My ultimate goal is actual charges. And the other thing about actual direct charges, and the other thing about it is that gets us to one of those things they always throw in our face. Other towns have just one page for the, you know, methodology. Well, if you're doing actual direct charge, actual charges, measured hours, that you actually did something, that's a one-page sheet.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have voted 2-1 in favor of the indirect charges. That means town council can't charge us for reviewing and deciding the board of selectmen are correct and we're wrong.
So I have the document that I received from.
I think Anne Marie has it too, Dutch.
I don't know if John wants to sign it or I wrote up another page in case.
Would you like me to sign it instead, John? I know. So you want me to, I'll sign that as approving it. Okay.
Then let me give you the page so you can read.
That was at my suggestion because we knew how it was going to go. Yeah.
So the back page, if you want to read it.
Yeah, no, yeah, thank you. You think? I got one. No, that was it. Yeah. In your paper clip.
I'll send you a copy.
Right there. Thank you. Okay. Um, The next one is actually mine, Mr. Kuzic, if I might.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Susan Sloan, right? Yeah. Susan Sloan, who is somebody that works on the charitable rib cook-off that is scheduled for this September at the fairgrounds and hopefully will actually be able to happen, was wondering if we would be willing to authorize the use of DPW vehicles for Touch a Truck at that rib cook-off, because the families coming through, particularly the children, like to see the vehicles and stuff like that. And I certainly think it's an appropriate thing, and we have done it elsewhere.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, Mr. Shaughnessy, you okay with that?
I'm gonna be there. I like that stuff. I wanna go touch the trucks myself.
No, you can't.
I'm gonna be there.
I'll make a donation too, you know?
Social occasions we're allowed to be there.
Can we
as long
actually
as there's
try
no
them
objection.
out and use the front end
I'll
loader
pull
and
the
the
board for
backhoe?
that. Okay. Mr. Cusick,
Aye.
Mr. Shaughnessy,
Aye.
Mr. Carrier, aye. I'll let you communicate with Susan on that. Okay, Rod, you're up. You're muted, Rod.
Okay, am I in?
You're in.
All right. Which one are we doing first?
We have 2021-04 change order.
Okay, that would be 22107. That was a typo. It's cleaning and painting Telegraph Hill tank and Forest Street water storage tank. I'll just give you a quick project status.
Rod, excuse me. Did you say, what was the contract?
It's 2107.
07, okay, so it's a typo.
Yeah.
All right, so we will revise that to 07.
Okay, so project status. Currently, the tank is being painted. On the inside right now, they've almost completed the interior priming. They've sandblasted the tank and they're in the priming process. They have some sandblasting on the roof remaining interior. So once that's all done, they'll bring in some heat and they'll start applying the paint, final coats of interior paint. When that gets done, they're not going to be able to do any exterior painting until the weather turns. So we are proposing that they have given us a proposal to paint the interior of the forestry tank, which we are asking to add to the contract. The condition of that paint was reported on the interior surface, was reported to be poor on the sidewalls, good condition on the interior roof, and poor on the floor. It's 18 years old. It's due to be repainted in a few years. And at this point in time, when we work on the exterior of the tank, we have to dewater the tank anyways. And so we have enough money to do the interior. So we're asking to add that interior to the contract as change order number 1, and also to add a mixing system similar to what we're doing at the Telegraph Hill tank. And that will allow the water to circulate. So right now, there's no way of circulating the water. And this is technology that has been added to numerous water systems around to keep the water moving, eliminate dead spots, especially in the summer, and in the winter for freezing too, it helps. And it's a low horsepower motor that spins the water inside and keeps it moving. And it was part of our original contract for the Telegraph Hill tank. We'd like to also include that as well. So we have enough funds to do the interior of the tank. And so we'd like the board to authorize that. I think the workmanship that they're doing right now is satisfactory. And so I think it's a good opportunity to get this tank painted. We'll have 2 tanks completely painted for the money that we had originally approved for the one and the roof at Forest Street. So because of the competition being, a lot of competition out there, we were able to take advantage of these prices. So I have a motion unless there's any questions here, to authorize change order number 1 and change order number 2 here for the interior paint and for the tank mixing system. Want me to read the motion, or do you want to take it from here?
You don't have to read the motion. I'm okay with it though.
Okay, I'll read the motion. Any other questions?
No.
Other questions? Oh, motion number 1, to authorize change order number 1 to contract 2020-107 with Trumbull Construction Incorporated, Texarkana, Texas, to clean and paint the interior of the Forest Street tank as specified for an amount of $437,500 and to extend contract completion date to June 30th, 2021, and authorize the chairman or designee to sign the change order when the documents are prepared. We get a vote on that?
Thank you, Rod. Yep. I have no questions. Mr. Shaughnessy, any questions?
I have no questions. I am for the proposal. It will help the water supply system, and it'll be a better quality water.
You had no questions, John? No questions. Okay. Okay. Mr. Piacashino has made the motion. I will second it. Has read the motion. I will propose a second. Yeah, both of them together.
You second it?
Yep. I will poll
Those in favor?
Mr. Cusick, are you in favor of the change to contract to date, which is $787,864.03? Change order number 1, $437,500, and change order number 2, $28,000 for a total of $1,253,364.03. Mr. Shaughnessy.
Aye.
Mr. Carrier, aye.
Very good.
Thank you, Rod. And you
Thank you.
have the next one.
You're all set if you want to take off.
No, he's got the next one, which is
Where?
20-021-29, water and food. Wastewater food.
Oh, sorry, Rod, you're still up.
Okay.
You're up, Rod.
Okay, these are the launder covers. These are devices that we put on the clarifiers. We have 2 clarifiers at 55 feet in diameter. And what happens is there's algae growth that accumulates and then drops into the wastewater. And then when it gets to the UV system, it creates an increase in turbidity. And when that increase in turbidity, we get less efficiency of the UV kill, which is killing the bacteria. So in order to improve that, these launder covers will help block out the sunlight, which should mitigate the amount of growth that occurs in the clarifiers. We put this out to bid, sealed bids, and we only received 1 contract vendor proposal. That particular launder cover was one that we had looked at, and so we are in favor of making a recommendation to award this contract to the Mar Corporation of Rockland, who will provide that particular Nevco system launder cover. So, and this will just be for supply, and we will be installing them when they are available. It's about a 10-week delivery, I've been told. So since Mar was the only bidder and the lowest bidder, and it was within our budget, make a motion that the lowest qualified bidder, the Mar Corporation of Rockland, Mass, be awarded the contract 2021-09 in the sum of estimated amount of $57,390 based on the specification, and authorize the chairman or board of public works or designee to execute the contract.
Discussion?
I have some.
Who just said something?
I do.
Go
I
ahead.
have one comment to make because there is an error in the memo, and the error is it should say John Cusick, Chairman of the Board of Public Works, not Dave Carrier. Huh?
Okay, sorry about that.
Aside from that, I'm okay with it. It's probably a cut and paste.
Just on discussion, Dave, kill that mic, will you? I see that, which I thought was very good, is Paul Tomovich did check out this Mar Corporation, and he did visit 2 locations at Exeter, New Hampshire, and Rocky Hill, Connecticut, at the Hartford MDC. So with that, if he's checked it out and the price is right, I'm all for this. So you want to?
Bob, do you have any questions or comments?
I have no, my comment is that, that we have to stay within the state regulations for severity and kill. So I think it's a plus to the town that we don't have other problems with not meeting our standards. So I'm full-heartedly in favor of it.
Thank you.
The motion has been made. You want a second?
I will second the motion.
Okay.
You can do the poll.
You poll the board?
You want me to poll? I'll poll the board. Mr. Shaughnessy.
Aye.
Mr. Cusick.
Aye.
Mr. Carrier, aye.
I was demoted.
Thank you, Rod.
Thank you.
I actually do have a contract. Rod, while you're still on, before you go, if memory serves me correctly, Mara has done a fair amount of well work for us in the water systems as well, have they not?
That's correct, and wastewater, they do both.
So they are known contractors to us as well.
Thank you, Rod.
Thanks, Rod.
You're all set, buddy.
Okay.
Have a good night. Okay, where are we now?
Discussion.
Oh, yeah, the IT, that's a weird thing, that one.
Well, let me, if I might, Mr. Chairman, because I was thinking.
I'll shut.
Okay. This subject came up at a meeting that was not tied into this at all, but it was raised by the guy, John Nash, at the time. And I looked at this, and the one consideration I would have would be that if we were to hire an IT person, for public works, that person would be conversant with our SCADA system for water and our SCADA system for wastewater. So he's able to maintain it and troubleshoot it, beyond that we have to get the OEM always involved sometimes, and as well as our DPW work, regular business office work. But that would be at 2 locations anyway, which is wastewater and 965 Plain Street. But I would want to look at that as a contract person to start. When we first get into running down there, I know we're going to run into some IT connection problems. It's happened already, and we'll probably have some more as we go along. And I, get somebody that's on a contract on call with a certain fixed cost for the general IT stuff, and if he goes, we use him for that to the extent we need him. And if we go beyond that, then he's on an hourly basis, but he's strictly on a contract basis. So if we find there's no need for it, no, thank you. That would be conceptual, and it's not something we're going to act on between now and the start of the next fiscal year. It's going to be that long before we actually get there. And I do know some local people, as you recall, Ron Menard, I believe he's in Norwell now, but I won't swear to that, as the IT director. Yeah, well, what I'm saying though is, one of the people that I have used personally, subcontracts to Ron, a guy named Tom Campbell who lives here in Marshfield, and he's a competent IT guy for the general IT stuff. But I've asked Paul Duross, and I haven't caught up with Clint yet, but I want to. What would we need, from an IT standpoint from somebody if we were going to actually get somebody as a permanent IT employee for us, for the SCADA systems in their communications. And then one of the issues I see us having as we go forward is, we will be expanding wastewater in some areas, whether it's into the Black Mountain, whether it's across the river, into the lowlands there, those, we're going to be ending up in situations where we have satellite wastewater stations that aren't tied into the main lift in any way, shape, or form. And they'd have a semi-complex SCADA control, much like the water stations do, the pump stations, where we might want to expand that as we go forward in the future. But it needs to be researched. Do we really need to do that? We may not. It may be cheaper on the long run to contract directly for the IT SCADA people, and let the regular IT take care of itself. I think the concern here is, from town hall, is that they don't want to see their guy tied up down at 965 when they want to be able to talk to him here. Yeah. But it's for discussion, so that it's a thought in everybody's mind now going forward. Do you have any comments on that, Bob?
I think that, the SCADA system IT person is totally different than the general IT person that deals with the office and other systems. Usually an IT person that does general stuff is usually working off a different platform than the electromechanical systems that are hooked up in SCADA. Usually you don't have that same talent in both. If you're lucky, you could do it, but you won't get them at the price they will pay as a regular employee. So I think that you're right. I mean, it's almost a service contract that you would have with the company to cover both of them.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that, which is kind of how I'm approaching it, why we want to start with the contract first. Mr. Peter?
Yeah.
Do something like that.
You both have your mics off.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. We have to turn our mics off here, back and forth, or a thing whistles. Yeah, it more or less, we would be hiring similar to a consultant, but an IT consultant, someone that would be able to work on our different enterprise accounts, different applications that come up. And my concern in the beginning, just seeing this, was that the general fund, the IT down here at downtown Marshfield, where we no longer will be, they would be taking that particular person and then trying to pay us back on offsets. So for a discussion, I think it's something we could discuss and find out through staff and what their recommendations would be, and discuss it further and move on from there.
So, John, so my point would be, is if you did it on a contract basis, it would be billable to the enterprise, whatever the cost center would be, water, sewer, trash, or general facilities. So you wouldn't even have to get into any kind of overhead or offsets or indirects. It's strictly direct billing.
Yeah, I'm for that, Bobby. Yeah, I didn't mean to say that particular person would, come down here and work, and then we get reimbursed. I understand it. Yeah, I go along with your suggestion. It would be strictly the three enterprise accounts that would be responsible for the cost of this particular company or individual.
But on a billing basis, you would have the timesheets, the list of services and what they did on the invoice.
Yeah, it would work. It would work out if we go that route. Yeah. Go ahead, Dave.
I strongly believe that there is a strong need to have DPW direct support for both SCADA systems, and also for the general operations, for especially billing and customer service and metering and all that stuff. That we shouldn't be depending on somebody else. We should have our own dedicated service. The service could be either a full-time employee with the multiple things, which I don't think we'll get, or we have a company that will provide it on an as-needed basis. But we still, as we all know, because of this pandemic, so many people are working from home, and if we didn't have all this IT stuff going on, we wouldn't be able to do anything. John, you both have your mics off. Dave, you have your mic off.
Thank you, Bob. The next item under the discussion is the earth removal that's taking place at 985 Plain Street, which is the location of the Frozen 4 Corporation, or the marijuana shop, if you prefer. Yeah, they had a hearing. The Board of Selectmen conducted a hearing at their last meeting, as part of their last meeting on this. Town engineer had done a thorough review, and basically our principal worry that we have as the water commissioners with regard to the depth of groundwater. The depth of groundwater is substantial. The material that is being taken off site is roughly 2,800 odd cubic yards of material. The balance of the excavation that's taking place is to level the property for additional parking. They're adding about 70 parking spots to the existing number that are there. Interestingly, though, I asked a couple of questions as follow-ups on this, and the traffic study was done in July. We purchased the property in June. For whatever reason, we were not on the abutters list as DPW. And I asked the question, because of that, did the fact that we are now at 965 and gonna be there while these people are doing all their construction, taken into consideration in the traffic study? The answer to that is no. Just so the board is aware of that, there are parties that probably, will latch onto that and be attempting to, slow that construction down. The issue I see for us is the number of trucks they're doing in a normal day. The only time we would have a problem is, probably at the start of the day when we're mobilizing out of 965, and maybe midday and at the end of the day, where we'd add to the traffic jam, so to speak. Just so everybody, the board is aware of the fact that that is an issue that's before us as an operation. If there has to be police details, my position is the guys doing construction, that's the unusual job, that gets the police details. They don't fall on public works.
Dave, I have a comment.
Go ahead, Robert.
I have a comment. There was a proposal to put a traffic signal at the end of that street. Highland. Is it what's the name of that street there? Highland?
School Street.
School Street, Robert.
School Street. Isn't it supposed? Is it state's going to put the light in, or is the town putting the light in?
Since that is I'm sorry.
That is a state highway, so I would presume that if we're going to add a traffic signal there, it would be by the state. I'm sure they would be looking to the town for contribution, and my position would be the only reason we're putting a traffic light in is because of marijuana shop going in. That was proposed long before we bought 965. So I would think that we should not have to contribute to that from a public works general fund standpoint or water fund.
I didn't ask about I know that there was talk about redesigning that intersection and putting a traffic control system in there.
That's correct.
And Rob was working with the state on maybe Tommy Reynolds knows that what the progress on that is.
There was a proposal basically to modify the exit coming out of 965 to merge with the exit from Don Martin Corporation and also from the Frozen 4, so that you'd have a left-hand lane, a right-hand lane, and a straight-ahead lane at the traffic light. I do not know where that stands beyond the conception by the planning board.
Okay.
There's no walkway between the new building and Frozen 4?
I think we ought to put up a barbed wire fence.
I heard about a small path going in.
Okay. All right, we are ready for the superintendent's report, and it will be Mr. Patterson's last report.
Yeah, but I have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry, John, go ahead.
No, I have a question on this report. The last meeting here, I asked about Mayflower and Country Way with Jimmy Kent mentioned that there was some type of an engineering plan or something going ahead, but he didn't have much information, but maybe Sean knows a little bit more. I know you were looking at it, Sean. Can you include that in your report, or is it something that Tom was going to take?
Well, Tom's gonna take that over, but we do have a consultant that's working on that for the spring of 2021. Moving forward to do a drainage design and incorporate it in what we did over on Plymouth Ave and Ocean Street.
Yeah,
If that answers your question.
So it's in engineering.
it's in the engineering. Okay,
Yep.
that's fine. Thanks, Sean.
Okay. So this is my last report, and I have to say it's been a great almost 7 years working with you fellas and everybody else here at the DPW. It's with a heavy heart that I am moving on. It wasn't an easy decision. I am going to be working at home, my hometown, but when you develop some great relationships like I did here, it's a tough move to make. But I made it, and thank God that Tom is coming back to take over again, and I think we're going to be in good shape. And in closing, I just want to say thank you very much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
As part of your report.
Wait a minute.
Let me get on the mic again.
Sean, as part of the report, we had a request about the transfer station starting to take payment up there, but I also had another item I wanted to include in your report for discussion, and that would be the feasibility of waiving. I know Tom had mentioned this to me on Saturday, and I think it's a good idea. Waiving the extending the validity of the 2020 stickers to the end of this month, because I know it's going to take us some different, some trial and error in order to implement taking payment transfer station as well as taking payments down at 965, just because of gearing up all the equipment and getting everything running.
Tom said we can extend it.
All right, so Thomas, all right, so we will authorize what the superintendent knows the consensus of the board is we should extend the 2020 stickers to the end of January 2021, and that we will implement sticker sales with working the details of that out at the transfer station as well. 965. Mr. Bowen had a question, I think.
I'm just curious why it would be extended, because the resident could buy the stickers online, and now that we're at 965, if they come to the door, they're able to buy them at the door as well.
I have found a lot of people coming in very confused by the move from one place to the other and attempting to get stickers online and not being successful. A number of our elderly residents who don't have the online savvy have a great deal of difficulty. I dealt with about 4 people over the last 2 days of last week here at Town Hall with those issues. So I would, and we had one woman show up on Friday at 965 looking to get a ticket. And the classic example is, I said to her, she says, well, it says at Town Hall that you do it down here. I says, yes, but it doesn't say until the 11th. So we have people who just, they come in, they get turned away at the door. They're upset. They're not reading the signs because they're upset. And to me, if we can avail ourselves of the opportunity to provide stickers at the dump, at least during the initial first quarter, I think it actually aids the whole process. At the transfer station, I would want it only to be either by a check or the debit card. Thank you. Struggling for that word. I don't use it. So either of those to me would be appropriate. And that way there's no cash being dealt with.
We weren't able to run the line up at the transfer station. We were going to go that route, but IT wasn't able to get the line up.
I thought Tom said that they had the capability and could set up there.
No, we do, but Dave, Tom's coming on board. Tom is going to talk to you about it. And right now, Donald Loomis seems comfortable getting the stickers out of the building here for the time being. But let's move along with this, and we'll try and figure it out as we go, I guess.
Okay. I will talk with Tom tomorrow morning on the subject, because I think there have been a few people who've asked me, and I said I was raising that issue at the meeting. So there are some people out there that are going to be expecting it, in which case, it would be appropriate for us to have at least maybe a week of it, of allowing grace. We have done that before when we've had issues.
And the last question is, so the extension of the 2020 transfer station is through the end of January.
That would be my proposal. But we'll deal on, I'll discuss, but if he has coaching arguments for it, that'll be fine. I'll make it a point to go on to WATD and announce the fact that, no, they all have to come to 965 to get their stickers. If that's how it works out. If it stays the way I mentioned, then that'll be fine. I did have preliminary discussions and it seemed amenable to both Sean and Tom before, but now apparently they've had additional balance on it. That's fine. That's what we paid the big bucks for.
Yeah, but to shut your mic off, it's not such a bad idea with the COVID and people being confused about the move. It's up for discussion. Tom, you can talk with Dave tomorrow and figure it out.
Then I would ask you we should do whatever the result is to get you.
Yeah, you can call and see what we can come up with, but we're here for the ratepayers, and they pay a lot going back to the indirects, 1.5 mil. So they deserve a break somewhat. It's not going to break the bank here anyhow. So you guys discuss it and see if you can figure out something that might work for the residents. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. But not a bad idea.
So I have a comment. My comment would be that we would, because of the move and where we are, COVID and everything, that we will accept the 2020 sticker until February 1st. Make it hard number February 1st. And that if we're going to sell stickers at the transfer station, it's got to be from a certain time to a certain time and not on Saturdays.
Is it Saturday problem?
Let me turn down.
Well,
because Saturday's a busy day, and that would really cause a major traffic jam up at the recycling center.
The biggest issue with Saturday, I'm sorry, back on. The one issue I see with Saturday sales at the transfer station is the fact that there's really no place to park to conduct the business. When you think about it, you just have right by the building, and if you get more than 3 people there, you've got all of that space is taken, and they use that for turnaround for heavy equipment and everything else.
Right.
So that is an issue to look at. But
So
yeah,
I mean,
we do Monday through Friday.
We need to have certain time frames to do it. So I mean, you have a discussion with Tommy Reynolds that it maybe Friday, no Fridays, no Saturdays, but usually during the week if it's not that busy, and by between a certain time to a certain time, we'll sell it. But it can't be the whole time. You got both your mics off, so you can't say you're just making lip movements.
Yeah. The one thing I mean, you need some discussion to see if it's going to be workable, or not at the transfer station. I agree with the fact it would be like fixed hours, like 4 hours on a given weekday or something like that, with certain hours, like 10 to 2 or something like that. But it does need further discussion, and I will get together with staff and then staff can, feedback to you guys after we've banged it off each other's head for a while. That covers it for me.
All right, so we'll leave it up to the vice chair, and he'll get back to the board through Tommy and see if he can work something out. It's not a bad idea, something that would help the ratepayers that do need a sticker. And if we could have the 2020 stickers extended to February 1st, that would be okay. We got to give the ratepayers some type of a break. They're really taking it, on the chin with these indirects. I hate to keep mentioning it, but they are. So,
I agree, and I think we can make it work.
So, we can take not a vote, but
the sense of the board.
With somewhat consensus of the board that we could go to February 1st. I'm for it. Dave, would you be for that?
I am for that, yes.
Bob, what about yourself?
I'm for that.
Okay, so the consensus of the board would be to extend the 2020 stickers to February 1st, with the understanding that the staff, Mr. Reynolds and the vice chair would discuss this, and Bob would call our board and we'd have it on the next meeting.
And
Go ahead, I'll shut this off.
that's okay, Jack. I'm good with that, sir.
Okay, Bobby, all right?
I'm okay with that.
Okay. So that's our agenda.
Okay, the next scheduled.
Can I
date-
make a comment?
Yeah, go right
Can
ahead.
I make a comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
I had a discussion with Jimmy Kent. They have, the police department has signs at certain roads going through the town with electronic speed numbers on it. Like if it's 35 or something, it tells you what the speed is going up the road. But the problem I see with that is there's no speed limit signs on the road. One I see is on Pine Street. It tells you what it is, but there's no speed. There's no sign underneath that says what the speed limit is on the road. It's just got the radar device telling what your speed is. So can we have a discussion with the police saying, if you're going to put the radar sign up, this is what the speed is, can you put the sign up that says what the speed limit is?
I would suggest that Tom Reynolds basically, or Jim Kent, could reach out to the traffic safety officer and basically question why we have these speed limit signs that basically, don't have a sign in front of it. You look at come in. But the bottom line comes down that, Bob, the way those things are set up, you will have a red and blue flashing on when you're above the speed limit.
Yeah, I
When you
know
hit
that.
the speed limit and drop 1 mile below it, the lights stop flashing. And that's how you know what the speed limit is.
I understand that, but if it's not on, there's still no speed limit sign that tells you what the speed limit is.
Well, for example, on Webster Street, as you come out of the Snow Road intersection and go north, Bob, he had a comment and a question. As you go as you go south on Webster Street, immediately after you pass by the back entrance to the strip mall is a 35-mile-per-hour sign, and that is the speed limit for the entire length of Webster Street. So when you get up past the golf course and you see that flashing signal, it's telling you you're going too fast or you're going just a knife.
I don't disagree with it, but on Pine Street, there is no sign going eastbound. And they have the sign there that tells you what the red and the blue light is. And it just, you have to guess what it is. But so my point is when you put these things up and there's an expense to it, can you put the sign that tells you what the speed limit is? Or maybe we work with them to do that.
Well, the bottom line, if I recall correctly, on those automatic speed limit signs is actually they came through from a state highway grant. But I won't swear to that. But I will mention it to staff tomorrow to talk to the traffic safety officer, and where we don't have posted speed limits and we have those signs, it'll be taken care of.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay. We'll get off of that. Yeah. Let's not tie this up anymore.
So, are we done?
Hold on, Bobby.
Hang on, Bob.
Go ahead.
Did you want to extend it, because initially the next January, but that's like right around the corner again. Do you want to make it another week out, like February 1st or February 8th?
I would think that the 25th is still a good date, even though it's close, because we have a large gap and we have the issues that we want to talk about between now, particularly with the transfer station and other things going on, the 965. I think it would be appropriate to hold that date.
So next week I'd have to have agenda again by Wednesday.
And I think we can do that.
So our next meeting is January 25th, 2021. I make the motion that we adjourn.
Second the motion.
Call the board, Mr. Carrier.
Yes. Mr. Shaughnessy,
Yes.
Mr. Cusick.
Yes. Thanks, Sean.
Good night, gentlemen.
Good lady.
Good luck, Sean.
Good luck,
Thank you,
Sean.
John. Thank you, Bob, Dave. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care of yourself.